Hi, I'm Aaron Price with Super Inspection Pros. We're here on the podcast of Have a Sip. Today, our guest is Tara Allen. She's a loan officer for Fairway. How are you doing, Tara?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you for coming, being
Yes.
a part of the podcast. You've been in the mortgage field how many years now?
I think it's 18 years right now. It's right at 18 years this
Wow,
April.
I'm about the same.
Are you really?
Yeah, 18. Yeah, it goes by fast, and each year's different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, each market cycle is different. But you know what? If you're busy and you're good,
Yeah,
you're always busy and good, right? Because you take
absolutely.
care of people.
Yeah.
I've done a couple deals with you personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say they're super smooth, easy. It wasn't stressful.
Yeah.
Um, how does a mortgage officer do that? How do they make it easy for someone?
Just try to take the stress off the borrowers. And then really the biggest thing too is always reviewing all the documents very thorough to make sure that you see everything the underwriter is going to see before the underwriter sees it. So there's no pitfalls or any mistakes that you have to try to back into. And really just trying to take the work off the borrower, help them find insurance, whatever they need help with, just really helping them so that they feel at ease.
Yeah, yeah, because it's you know the amount of paperwork you got to submit seems like you're getting a clearance for the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any way to improve that, or do you see anything on the horizon?
There is actually.
Okay.
So on the horizon, Fannie and Freddie, right, the financial
Yeah.
conglomerates that do the loans, the conventional loans, they have a system called a VOA and then like a VOE system where people can put in their bank statement information, like their login information, and it'll pull like their bank statement so they don't have to upload bank statements.
Mhm.
It'll pull it directly from the financial institution. And the same thing with income. If they are a W-2 employee, then also they will be able to start logging in their wage earner information, maybe from like the work number, which is a third party income system that they can log in their information, and we'll start pulling their pay information electronically so that they don't have to upload W-2s, pay stubs,
Yeah.
all of that.
Do you think that'll speed it up at all?
I do. I think it
Yeah.
will speed it up.
Because
'Cause
it's like a 3-week time period at least
yeah.
to get
Well,
a
and
clear
sometimes
close.
you're like waiting on people to send you. They're having problems getting their documents. So I do think it will speed up the process if we're just able to pull that information over electronically.
Yeah. I'm always, when I think of buying anything else
Mm-hmm.
other than real estate, it's pretty quick.
Right.
And then you go to buy a house and it's 30 to 45 days.
Right.
Why do we need so much time?
I
Why?
don't think we need that much time. We can close loans and like ideally we can't legally close them faster than 10 days, but we've closed them in like 12 days. Most of the time the 30 days is because maybe the seller needs time to get out, but definitely we could close them sooner than that if need be.
So it's not a fixed, we need 30 days.
It
It's
isn't.
fluid.
No, I think the longest wait probably is the appraisal. So once the appraisal is ordered, depending on, market conditions, how things are, usually it takes a appraiser about a week, maybe up to 10 days for a VA loan. A VA loan, the VA appraiser has 10 days once the order has been done for them to deliver the report. So I think that's the longest thing really is the appraisal order.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice if we could get to a nice, like 2-week
Oh,
average
yeah.
transaction because in a 45 dayer,
Yeah.
so much can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, your life can change in a couple days, and you
Yeah.
got 45 days,
Yeah.
and there's so much things that could pop up. The house condition on my end, if I inspect it like,
Mm.
3 days after they go under contract, it's been 42 days.
Yeah.
And if people are living in the house,
True.
God knows what has happened or
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
or went wrong.
Yeah.
It's a long time period.
Yeah.
So I would love it if we could get it down to a nice 2-week. It'd be pressure cooker
That's
probably.
what I was just thinking. It kind of
Yeah.
scares me a little bit, like how fast that would feel. Like
Yeah.
as a seller, like my offer's accepted and I have 2 weeks to pack my house up and get out. From
That's
that
true.
point, that scares me.
That's true. Maybe if you could just do it on like secondary homes or
Yeah. Or if the house is
yeah.
vacant, like there's no problem with that if a
Yeah.
house is vacant. But from the seller's perspective, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got
But now
15
you gotta
days to
find
get
something.
out and find
That's
somewhere to
true.
live. So I feel like the 30 days, 45 days gives them time to
Yeah,
find
that's
somewhere to
true.
go.
Maybe you could rent it back from them. Say, hey,
Yeah,
I'll give you a month's rent,
you can
but at
do
least the
that.
transaction's done,
Yeah,
and to get it over with. Uh, it's always been a pet peeve of mine. 30
really.
to 45 days. Yeah, because
Yeah,
what else do you buy that's like that?
nothing.
There's nothing that you buy
No,
that takes that long.
no.
So, if they're hopefully they're working on stuff with,
Yeah,
AI and computer programs talking to
yeah,
one another and
yes,
can speed some of this back end paper gathering
yeah,
up. That would be good.
yeah.
So when you're getting a loan, they
Hmm.
verify your income.
Yes.
What's the weirdest income that you've seen someone trying to claim
I
or
can't think of
something that shouldn't be
anything
there?
super strange. Probably like one of the most recent things was like someone trying to use deposits where her significant other just gave her money, like not a spouse, just a significant other, like gave her large sums of money every month and she wanted to use that as income.
Hmm.
Which anytime we're using income, we're looking that it's going to continue for at least 3 years, which obviously if someone's just
Right.
giving you stipend money here and there, we don't know that that's going to last for 3 years.
Yeah. Probably a questionable profession too.
Yeah. So that was probably the most interesting lately. But luckily nothing really weird that's
Yeah.
come up.
I know that just being self-employed, especially when I was on a W-2,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Just going through all of the income verification and you got to send them so much if you're self-employed. Since we've gotten on W-2, it seems like it's gotten
Yeah.
better. But they still want to know everything about your business,
They do.
and it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Profit and loss statements
Yeah.
sometimes, depending on what industry you're in, we might need profit and loss statements. But I feel like yours were always really clean because you use a really good CPA.
Yes.
And that is the biggest thing with self-employed borrowers is making sure that they use a really good tax preparer CPA that knows the laws, that does the tax returns correctly. Because a lot of times, if they're not, we see a lot of errors,
Mm-hmm.
and that can cost you.
Yeah, it's an expense to have a CPA and
Hmm.
tax preparers, but man, I got to tell you, it makes you go from a mom and pa to a legitimate business
Agreed.
when you go to ask for loan money or some
Hmm.
investment, you want to buy an office or whatever. You have to cross that bridge as a small-time business guy and just do it cuz
Yeah.
it's going to make your life better and easier should you want to buy assets.
And it makes our life much easier when you're using a
Yes.
professional that knows what
Yeah,
they're
because it's
doing.
not me saying it. It's a
No.
third party verified,
Yeah.
It's all documented.
And
It's
they're
total
do-
game changer
yeah.
for
And they're
sure.
doing the deductions right. They're doing the W-2s correct. Like everything is,
Yeah.
yeah, spot on.
Do you have to be a small time tax person to do this type of work?
I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the things that helped me the most in this industry is that before I was in mortgages, I worked for financial planners and a CPA for a short period of time. So I knew how to do tax returns. I knew how to read them. So I
Mhm.
think that did give me an edge up, especially with self-employed borrowers, is that I do have that history and knew
Yeah.
all that information when I got into the business.
Yeah. I don't even know how to read my tax return.
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, what is all this?
Yeah.
So it's cumbersome.
And it's not really that difficult. The nice thing about self-employment income is it's very black and white. What's on those lines is what we can use, right? We
Hmm.
can add back certain things. And now, honestly, some of the W-2 jobs have even gotten harder for us to calculate income. So many people don't work full time anymore.
Right.
Back in the day, they were 40 hours a week employees and they had a set hourly pay. It's not like that anymore. They may work 37 hours one week, 43 the other. So it's considered variable pay. So a lot of times now it's harder to calculate the income when it's variable income because people aren't working full time. It's not just straight black and white. You're 40 hours at this hourly wage.
Hmm.
And then per diems, people get per diems or, depending if they work different shifts versus I feel like self-employment income is so black and white. I know what income I can use and what I can add back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Income verification, huge part of it because that's
yes.
what you're going to eventually tell someone you can borrow this much, which
Hmm.
means you can shop for a house in this price range, right?
Absolutely.
So, do you ever work with people on the front end, or
Hmm.
is it usually so you're like farming a little bit, getting them prepared?
Yes.
they might want to buy a house in the next year or two.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of times that people reach out, borrowers that reach out that want to buy in, but they don't want to buy until maybe a year or so, that they've got something happening. Maybe they're in college and they're not going to be graduating and getting their, forever job until then. So they just getting ready and kind of want to know, what to be ready for. So I have conversations with them and kind of talk some initial numbers, monthly payments, what the minimum down payments typically are, and kind of so they have an idea before they reach out and get fully pre-approved.
Do if you had to put a percentage on it, how many people are kind of proactive on their mortgage
Not
situation?
a lot. It's
Right.
probably like, I mean, thinking of how many I talk to a year, it's probably like 5.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
And it's kind of backwards because they
It
go
is.
see the pictures of the house and like, I want that house.
Yeah.
And then they start it, but then how many times they figure out they can't afford that type of house?
Yes.
And so they've
Yes.
gotten all jacked up and ready to go,
Mhm.
and only to find out that, not do you qualify for this house, but you're not even in the range.
Mhm.
That's a big wake up call.
It is. And that happens a lot, especially in the last couple of years with interest rates. That has been, when I have my initial consultations with clients, I'm kind of like, where is it that you want your monthly payment to be? Because they might be looking at a $400,000 house and they're telling me they want their monthly payment to be 2,000. So I know we're far off. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
have like a conversation before we get too far, so
Yeah.
that I can show you what $2,000 a month looks like in a
Yeah.
home purchase.
Do you, pre-approval letter?
Hmm.
That's when you're doing the front end where you issue the letter. Does that make them a stronger buyer?
Absolutely. Yes, because we've reviewed all their documentation. So we reviewed their income, their asset documentation, their credit. And then sometimes we even go a step further and we do a pre-underwrite where we have their file reviewed and underwritten by an underwriter before they even go under contract.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's a really solid off.
And realtors can coach their buyers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I think the first thing, I don't know if realtors, show them before they get the pre-approval letter, or what have you found in that scenario?
I
Most
think it depends on the realtors. I believe that they're not supposed to really be showing homes without a pre-approval letter because most sellers don't want you coming
right,
in their house to look at their house if you can't buy it.
right.
But I do think a lot of them do show homes a little bit here and there just to kind of show buyers what are out there before they get fully pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah, yeah. You got to get that so that you got things lined up. They know you're serious. And I would say a good realtor would only show it to, show houses to a
Hmm.
pre-approved buyer, because you might be wasting everybody's time.
Absolutely. And your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know, you're not, it's not like you think all these people are bad or got bad intentions, but you don't know. And they're
No.
going in people's houses. So they want to have a little skin in the game.
Hmm.
I know if I was a seller, I don't know how many times it's come up. I've sold a lot of houses, but
Yeah.
are these people pre-approved? You're usually in such a urgent state to just
Yeah.
sell the house.
Right.
I just want to get out of here, right?
Right.
I'm moving on with my life. Like, whatever, show it.
Hmm.
You don't think about some of these things, and it could be manipulated and exploited for sure. So, got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
All right, it's everyone's favorite topic. You get this to death.
Every day.
I know. I hear it all the time too, and it dictates my life and how busy I am. And it's the interest rate.
Hmm.
We were artificially low for so long that people have lost their minds, about 6 to 7%.
I know.
Is there any hope that it's coming back down to low 5s? I think 5's
Yeah.
the number we need.
Agreed. I agree. We were inflationally low during COVID, right? And so 3%, 2% interest rates, that is not normal, right? You and I'm sure
Yeah.
you bought your first home about the same time I did. I mean, I think my first home, the interest rate was 7 or 6%. Same thing when I built my next home, that interest rate was almost 7%. So when we were down at 2 and 3, it just was not normal, but people thought it was normal. And then really we went on that roller coaster, right? That started 3 years ago. If you look back at the dates, It was 3 years ago from now when
Yeah.
interest rates started increasing. And then we hit a height of interest rates in November of 2023, where interest rates were almost at 8% on a 30-year fixed.
Mm.
And then we've come back down. Right now, I mean, we're hovering like mid to high sixes, just depending on the day. We'll have like a run, like a really good run where interest rates will come down, maybe like a 0.5%. And then something happens in the media, the news and everything, tariffs or whatever's
Yeah.
going on. And then rates jump back up. So I think we're going to see these bounces throughout the rest of the year. But I agree with you that if we could get in the high fives, consistently or in the low sixes, I think it would really spark a really, really strong market.
Yeah. People will give up their 3 for a
Mm-hmm.
5 just
Mm-hmm.
to move on with their life.
Yeah.
So there's definitely pent up demand, I believe. So um it's funny because like when the rate drops, just like you said, like a half a
Mm-hmm.
point, boom, phones light up.
It does.
And it's go time, and something. I know when something's going on in the market
Right.
just simply by the phone call
I
volume,
know.
and the inquiries that we see on the web.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just does these cycles,
It
and we
does.
have no control over it. We're just riding the wave like the rest
We
of
are.
them, and waiting on these market factors to
Mm-hmm.
level out to some degree. Um, I'll say that if you can you buy it down?
You can.
But like, what's a reasonable
Yeah.
buy down?
So there's two different ways to buy the interest rate down. You can do permanent interest rate buy downs or temporary interest rate buy downs. So permanent interest rate buy downs, typically you can buy the rate down, let's say the par rate, meaning you're not paying anything for the interest rate. Let's say it's 6.75 today. You could pay probably about 3 discount points, which is going to equal 3% of your loan amount, and it's going to buy your interest rate down 1% for the life of the loan. So if the par rate is 6.75, you could
Mhm.
maybe buy it down to like 5.75 for the full 30 years.
Yeah.
But with interest rates, when we were in the high sevens, mid sevens, people were doing a lot of the temporary interest rate buy downs. And so the most popular one was the 2-1 buy down. So what that means is it's not an adjustable rate mortgage. It's just where you're temporary buying your interest rate down. So if the interest rate today, again, was 6.75, you would buy it down to 4.75 the first year, 5.75 the second year, and then it would be 6.75 for the remainder of the life of the loan. So it's not an adjustable rate mortgage, it's just a temporary buy down. And typically on a 2-1 buy down, the cost of that is about 2.4% of your loan amount.
So that would be something to consider. Like if you're on the uptick on income,
Mm-hmm.
you got a nice steady job, your future's looking good. I
Mm-hmm.
should be increasing my salary, year over year. The 2-1 buy down, gives you 3 years of until it gets to
Yes.
regular
It gives
price.
you 24 months of a
Yeah.
lower interest rate in hopes that interest rates do come down and you can,
Can
excuse
you?
me, refinance to a
Okay.
lower.
So it doesn't adjust automatically. You have to refi after the 2 years. So if it's lower than your buy down, let's say the 2-point buy down or the 1-point buy down,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets to the 24-month,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't fix on the new interest rate.
No, it's whatever
Okay.
you closed at that
Okay.
point. Whenever
Okay.
you
So if it went
purchase the
down, you'd
home,
have to
you
refi.
do. Yes.
Okay.
That's the only way. If not, you're going to be fixed at what that note rate was when you purchased the home.
Got it.
So you
I've
have to
never
do
done one of those.
the
And I've done
temporary
a
buy
lot of
down.
no, and I've done a lot of these deals
Yes.
every which way, but I've never done a 2-1.
It just became popular in the last couple
Yeah.
years.
I mean, 2 points that's a lot.
2% is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they do that on investment loans at all?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
Okay. That's something to consider.
Yes.
So,
Now that you say that, I need to check that.
yeah. Well, we'll check on that.
Yeah.
Um, investment loans, done a couple of them. It's 25% down
Yeah.
and usually a higher rate.
Yes.
And, they're usually like 7 right now or
Mhm.
higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
More risky because
Mm-hmm.
it's not
To
your
the investor.
primary
Right.
residence. But, hey, if you're buying investment homes, maybe you're doing okay.
Right.
You're buying assets. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
So there's always a lot of buzz about mortgages. What's some common mortgage myths that you'd like to put an end to, or every time you hear it, or someone says it, or there's some bogus blog article
Mm-hmm.
that just really grinds your gears? What's an example of that?
One thing is just how difficult the process is. I think a lot of times people think it's just so daunting and overwhelming, but I think if you work with the right professional, then it's not that daunting. We can walk you through the process and really help you every step of the way. So I think that's the most thing is people just think it's just so overwhelming to do.
Yeah. Well, the whole transaction of real estate is
Yeah,
it's an emotional roller coaster.
it is. It
And
is.
that's really your first ticket on is sending your paperwork to the
Yes.
mortgage officer.
And they drag their feet, I feel
Yeah.
like, for the most part. They love the fun part, right? They love to go
Mhm.
with the realtor and see all the houses, but when it comes to getting pre-approved and turning in their documents, that's when they're dragging their feet because it's just, "You need what?"
Yeah, it's
You know?
tedious,
"Why do you need
clerical,
that?"
looking up, "Oh, where did I put that? What
Yes,
computer was that on?"
exactly,
You
finding
know?
all those documents, yes.
Mhm. It is a pain. Um, any other myths or anything else?
The other thing is the 20% down. Most people think, sometimes you talk to first time home
Mhm.
buyers and they think they need 20% down because that's what their, parents or their grandparents
Right.
told them that they need. And so I think that's a big myth. And especially if you have 20 or if you have a great credit score, 20% down is definitely not needed. As a first time home buyer on a conventional loan, you can put as little as 3% down. And if you have really good credit, the private mortgage insurance, the PMI that we call
Mhm.
it, is really not that bad with a good credit score.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, if you're doing 25 or 20% down on 400 grand, that's a lot of money.
It is.
So, to save up that is difficult.
Mhm.
Really, I would say the best way to save that money is to buy real estate, live in it, pay down the debt, pay extra if you can. Hopefully,
Mhm.
appreciation
Mhm.
forces it, and then your next house, maybe then you can do 20% down
Agreed.
or higher,
Mhm.
or lower, 10%, whatever you can do to manipulate that
Right.
price to get it in your pocket. I think that's what we'll see a lot of this whenever
Mhm.
this calms down. If we ever get down to 5%, um, these people will just put more down
Yes.
and keep the same type of mortgage payment.
Right.
That's kind of what I see happening.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of levers you can pull when it comes
Mhm.
to getting that mortgage rate or getting I would say the monthly payment
Mhm.
what you need.
Mhm.
Is there you've got what do you got? You got the
The
down payment.
the down
Is there
payment,
any other
the interest rate.
the
So if
interest
you
rate?
buy interest rate, you buy the points down to get the
Yeah.
payment
Okay,
down.
so you got the 2-1 for
Yeah.
example.
So just different interest rate options that you can work with. And then really just, you can't really do anything about property taxes. Those are what they
Right.
are. And then
Insurance.
shopping for insurance. That's, we all know in Florida, that's a big thing is insurance. So really
Mhm.
shopping around for insurance. You can't just go to one agent and get a quote because that insurance company might not want your house, but you can go somewhere else and they'll quote you and give you a fair price.
Mhm. Right. And plus you've got different loan products that some
Hmm.
have 0% down,
You do. Yes, there are the VA and the USDA that are 0% down,
right?
which VA by all means is the best loan program out there
Yeah.
available to our veterans.
That's a lot of money potentially.
Mhm.
0 down. I mean, the buyer doesn't have a lot of risk. So,
No.
if only thing I would say is if the market goes down, a
Mhm.
little risky for the mortgage companies because
Right.
you're like, they don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
So that could potentially, if it went down 10% in a year, people freak out
Mhm.
and they're like, well, this house isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm out of here, and
Yeah.
there's really nothing keeping them there because it's not like they put 20 grand into it or
Mhm.
whatever. So, but there's all kind of products that can get you where you need to get and
Absolutely.
get you in the game. I would
Mhm.
say that's probably the biggest thing for a younger person.
Yes.
How old were you when you first bought your
I was
house?
19.
19. Yeah.
Yes.
We sold a house at 21,
Yeah.
and that's how we paid off our student loan debt. And I've been debt free
Mhm.
since. I've had real estate debt, but as far as,
Yeah.
consumer type debt, that was a huge thing. I mean, that got us over the hump and that started us on the right track. Couldn't have done it without buying a house.
Mhm.
And you got to take the risk
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
And that's what I tell the first time home buyers. Your first house is not your forever house. This is just to get in the game of home ownership. Like buy what you can afford now. Over the years, markets have always appreciated. There was only a couple down years when markets didn't appreciate. Get in there, make the payments, like you said, make extra principal payments if you can to get the balance down. And then once we have appreciation, and you have it built up, then sell it, take that equity and put on your next house. Just it's your next stepping stone. It doesn't have to be the forever home, the first one.
Yeah. I don't even like the term when I see it, dream home, their
Mhm.
forever home on these Facebook posts, because a home has a run.
Right.
Like you're not going to stay in that house. The average person's 7 years,
Mhm.
and I'm way under that. So, it's just you got to live somewhere,
Right.
and it's gonna have its run. And I would tell other folks, they're like, "Well, I don't. What if I sell? What am I gonna buy?"
Mhm.
Maybe your house has run all the way its bandwidth. It's not really gonna double again.
Right.
Maybe it will 20
Yeah.
years down the road,
Right.
but you've kind of made your hay. You need to leverage into a bigger asset
Mhm.
that you can get more run out of. And that's essentially what I've done
Right.
my whole home buying career.
Mhm.
Keep upgrading
Mhm.
and find the deals and get in there and then capitalize
Right.
and make money on real estate
Mhm.
because you got to live somewhere. It's a house. It's
Right.
just a house.
Yes.
And there's so much emotions tied to this whole transaction. Um, it's just a house and it's a vehicle for wealth building.
It is.
Yep.
But we get emotionally attached.
Yes. Especially if all your babies grew up in there
Yes.
and it was a family home.
Yes.
And I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, refinancing Boomtown.
Oh wow. Yes, it was.
Like how many refinances were you
gosh.
doing during that time compared to like new deals? It was
It was probably 50-50. Was
yeah.
probably doing about 50 to probably 50 refinances a year.
And that's counted in your loan
It was.
closings, right?
Mhm.
Like that's numbers of
It was.
units that you have done.
Yes.
How big of a change was it when the refinancing boom went away?
It was a big change.
And you're like, "Oh no, I got
Yeah.
nothing but new sales here."
Yes. I always had new sales, but I never really went after the refinances. I was lucky that just my past clients just reached out to me, or people that knew me just reached out to me and asked me to do their refinance. So of course I was going to do that and help them. So I still took care of my purchase business and all the relationships I had there, but I just had like a huge bonus from doing all the refinances. I wasn't doing anything or reaching out to anybody really. I
Yeah,
mean, at
just
that
coming
point,
in.
everyone's just calling you because they're like, "Hey, I heard rates are like 2-3%. Can you help me?" Yes, we can help
Mhm.
you.
And at
You know?
that lower rate, you can help everybody pretty
Oh,
much.
absolutely.
It's probably a 90% success rate.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't imagine, they'd have a higher because it was so low.
was.
Do you see that, happening again? Because now if we have a little bit of time where we're at
Mhm.
these elevated rates, if we go to 4, is
Yes.
that going to spur another one?
I do think so. I think it will spur the ones that have purchased in the last couple years that they want to refinance these high sixes, low 7 interest rates. Definitely those people want to refinance. And then I think just we all know US consumer isn't at an all-time high. So they're probably, consumers are paying probably 25% on credit cards. So if they could refinance their home and maybe get an interest rate at 5% and alleviate all that monthly debt on the credit cards and put it on the house, I do think it is going to spur a lot of debt consolidation loans.
I could see that coming down the
Mhm.
pike. We're at like all-time high for credit card debt right
We
now.
are.
So there's a lot of debt that needs to be
It
refinanced.
does.
And there's a huge commercial block of high interest debt that's coming up due, I think, this year. So
Mhm.
be interesting to see how that happens. I mean, people hide it in their houses.
Absolutely.
It's been an asset that has gone up.
Mhm.
What if you run it out on a graph,
Yes.
probably 3 to 4% a year
Yes. On
forever.
average.
Right. So, you're gonna make up that gap. 25% credit card.
Mhm.
That's ridiculous.
You can never get them paid off
Yeah.
if you're just paying the minimum payments.
Yep. So it's kind of a lot of people's houses are get out of jail free card.
Yes.
And, I could see that happening again.
Yeah. Restructure the debt to make it more affordable.
So in the mortgage process, first time home buyer, is there always something that they're tripping up on that is getting overlooked? They mess up a lot. They're not
Mhm.
prepared for. What would those be?
The biggest factor is not hiring true professionals. as
Mm.
a first time home buyer. You don't know what you don't know, right? So you really need to hire professionals like yourself,
Mhm.
myself. The realtor needs to be highly professional, seasoned realtor. As many times I see a disservice to the borrowers, especially our first time home buyers that need advice, looking for advice. And if they're not using seasoned professionals like you and I, then they feel really lost. And that's when they get overwhelmed when someone's not helping them, walk
Yeah.
through the process. So that's the biggest thing that I think with first time home buyers and all buyers, that they're not using true
Yeah.
professionals. They're just, Sally Joe told them to use their sister. And so they used, the sister that does, 1 to 2 transactions a year. Well, unfortunately, that's a disservice to you because if they're not in the business full time, then they don't know the market and they don't know what to ask. When maybe inspections come through, right?
Mhm.
Asking for sellers to fix things, seller credits. They're not really knowing what to look out for the borrower to really help them.
Yeah. It's a team effort,
It
and I've kind of feel like since I've been doing this, in this area, the true professionals kind of find each other.
Mhm.
They're like, I can work with this person, or they mean business.
Yes.
I can this person can help me close more deals,
Mhm.
or get a deal that could have fell, through or
Right.
got killed,
Yes.
to the finish line. And if you're, a realtor and you're not using professional people,
Mhm.
I guarantee you're leaving money on the table.
Absolutely.
And if you're a consumer buying a home, you want to have the best experience, and you don't want to deal with the riffraff because there's a ton in this industry.
There is.
I mean, it's kind of fly by night. People jump in,
Mhm.
jump out all the time. There's lifers in there, but there's also people who just got in,
Mhm.
and it's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Right.
But do you want to be the guinea pig?
Mhm.
Do you want to be the one who has a bad experience?
Right.
Something crazy happens, and it falls through, and you didn't know, and there's horror stories out there
There
for
are.
sure. So working with a professional team, to me, that's the
It is.
highest thing. And as a consumer, they're really not going to know.
They don't.
Do you have a pretty good online profile or
I do.
reviews?
I do,
And
yes.
yeah,
Google
so
reviews, all that. I do. People find me online,
yeah,
especially the ones from out of state stuff. I'll get business from out of state where they're moving here
yeah,
and they Google and they find me. So that's where, I get a lot of out of state buyers like that.
yeah. We're the same way. I'm the most reviewed inspector around this area,
Mm-hmm.
out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
My face is out there. I gotta see these people,
Yes.
around
Right?
town. Can't hide under a rock.
Yes.
So you gotta take care of these folks. And it doesn't mean that nothing's ever not gonna happen because
Right.
you're human and
Mm-hmm.
things happen. You do enough of this transactions, dumb things happen
They
that
do.
you would never think happen.
Right.
But you're there to answer the phone and make it right and work with people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, they can call you. They can chase you down
Yeah.
because they know
They know where to
they
find you.
they know you're in the community. People are gonna know.
I know.
So yeah, having that professional team, huge. If there's any realtors out there that need professionals, we're available
Absolutely.
all the time. So yeah, give us a call, try us out. We'd love to work with you. Tell me if these things are a good idea, especially as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps being a co-signer
Mm-hmm.
on a loan.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion?
I don't really have an opinion, to be honest. I see it a lot, and I haven't had any horror stories where it didn't work out for the parent. Right now, it is difficult for first time home buyers, especially with one income, to purchase their first home. So a lot of parents are helping children out by co-signing or giving large down payments. So, I mean, I really haven't had any bad situations where it turned out bad. So I'm okay with co-signers.
Yeah. Is there still adjustable rate mortgages?
There are adjustable rate mortgages. In my career, I think I've only done 3. Um, right now, for many years, the yield curve has been flat. So our short-term interest rates, right? Our car loans were like 6, 7, 8%, and our mortgages were at the same amount. So you don't get really a better interest rate right now for an ARM for a shorter time
Mm.
period than you do for the fixed. So I'm not a big
Right.
component on the adjustable rate mortgage unless for some reason back in the day when the yield curve was not that way and you could get maybe a 5-year ARM for a better interest rate than a 30-year fixed and you knew you were only going to be in that house for 5 years, then I do think that is a great option for the right borrower. But right now, there's really no benefit to taking an ARM on a residential property.
What about buying a house with a family member, ex-family member, maybe an ex-spouse? Are those
Mm.
good ideas?
I do not see much of that. No, that's
Mm.
not a great idea. A lot of times when people, I think when they're going on loans together, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, they're going on the loan and they're purchasing a home. This is a huge commitment. I mean, it is more of a commitment. I hate to say it, but it's more of a commitment than almost a marriage
Mm.
because the marriage is easier to dissolve by hiring attorneys or filling out the paperwork and going to the courthouse and to dissolve it. But if you both purchase a home together and you both go on the deed, the only way to get one person off is by refinancing. So if you two could only qualify to purchase the house together and you decide not to be together anymore and one person wants off, that other person that's going to keep the house, they're going to have to be able to qualify and refinance the mortgage just in their name,
Mm.
which a lot of times doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
So that's why I say it's harder to
You want to be
fix a
married.
purchase. I mean, or in a really committed
Yeah.
relationship that because this is a big step because it's hard to get someone off a mortgage.
Yeah, it's a
You
lot to
have to
unwind.
refinance. It is.
Yeah, and the only way to do it is to get a new loan,
It
which
is.
is going to cost you,
It
or you
is.
might not qualify.
Right.
There's a
So
lot of
then you have to
variables
sell it.
there, right? And then if it's a crummy time to sell, or you want to buy,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to buy that house, right? Now
Right.
you got to buy them out. It's a
Mm-hmm.
whole mess. I think it can always get
Yeah.
questionable when family's involved because you just don't know. You're mixing a lot of money,
Right.
emotion,
Mm-hmm.
past history. I
Yes.
mean, people hold on to that stuff. So I would say try to keep the deal
Yeah.
clean, simple. Don't buy houses with friends.
Yes.
Um, if it's a business buying a house,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully you put it in a business entity name, but it's tough. You get
It
people
is.
involved. People are people,
Yes.
and things go crazy, haywire, and it's hard to undo
Mm-hmm.
a real estate transaction.
It is.
You know, it's probably more days undoing it than it is closing the original deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of
Restructuring to
time
make it
and effort.
work.
So if you had to explain today's mortgage market in a
Mm-hmm.
movie or a meme or a theme, how would you outline that for us?
Oh, trying to think of a movie title. I guess it's just the unknown. Every day's unknown, right? What the market's going to be like. The market is ever changing. Um, that's one of the hard things about this business, but then kind of one of the fun things, right? We think we figure it out and then
Yeah.
something changes with the market and then we have to come up with new strategies to make things work. Um,
Would you say it's a scary movie or a comedy or maybe a drama?
Drama. I'm gonna say drama. I wish it was more of a comedy, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of a drama.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be good if it was action, things blowing up
No,
at the end.
no. Bomb like, literally, yeah, the
Yeah.
bombs going off in the
Yeah.
mortgage process,
Deadline, the
like
deadline flashing in front of you, the countdown meter, like
uh,
you're not gonna make it.
yeah.
Drama's good because it's drama filled, the whole
Yes,
thing.
it is.
Pretty much every step along the way, there's some sort of drama you got to overcome. You got to stay cool,
You do.
and you got to work with people to stay cool
Yes.
because you don't need manufactured
Mm-mm.
drama for sure.
No,
So, it's all about who you work with when you're doing these transactions.
it
I
is.
can't say that enough because there's enough to go wrong, even
Mhm.
with the right people.
It is.
So,
And working with people that stay calm, put a plan in place to make things work is
hmm
huge.
how does how does insurance
Mhm. Oh, that's a good
go
one.
into the mortgage process?
Well, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I see a lot is that people with the VA loan, an FHA loan, and maybe even USDA, right? These are all our government loans. They're backed by the government or guaranteed by the government. So they require a little bit more when the appraiser goes out. The appraiser's looking at a little bit more on these homes, but it's nothing significant. So I feel like a lot of times people think that a house won't work for a veteran, a VA
Hmm.
loan, an FHA loan, or a USDA loan. But half the time that's not true. Most of the time we get down to, to the end, and if we're having issues, it's not on the property and on the appraisal, it's on the insurance.
Hmm.
Maybe the roof is 17 years old and we can't find, anyone to insure the roof. And then the big thing is the electrical panels. A lot of people think that if the electrical panel is old, it won't go for VA, USDA, or FHA,
No, they
which
don't
is
even
what
care.
they don't care at all.
Yeah.
What is it? The Sylvania and
Yeah.
the
Insurance, there's about 5 of them, manufacturers that they don't want anymore.
mm-hmm.
But the appraiser doesn't
No,
flag it.
they
They don't
don't.
even know. And I get that question a lot at inspections. Well, will it pass FHA or this or that? I'm like, I don't. It's two different things. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
seems like FHA is more safety related,
It
outlet covers, handrails,
absolutely.
you know,
They want to make sure
minor
that when
things.
someone purchases a home that there's not something that's going to harm them, or if there's a fire that the windows open so they could get out of the house.
Hmm.
It's more of a safety thing.
Right.
It's not,
Yeah.
insurance is looking to protect their investment, so they're more worried about,
Yeah.
if it catches fire or something like that. But FHA, VA, USDA, they don't flag those panels.
Right. Yeah. It's two totally different
It
things.
is.
One of the biggest things I can say in this industry is you want to stay in your lane,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not a VA appraiser. I'm
Right.
not an FHA appraiser. I'm not anything like that.
Right.
I'm just a defect finder.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And it's on the report. And, if it gets fixed, it gets fixed. It doesn't really ultimately matter to me.
No.
I want people to be happy. As long as you know what you're buying, that's all that I can really ask for.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're not going to regret it, because there's sometimes I swear people don't read the report or understand fully.
Yes.
Like, hey, dude, this is coming up. This ain't cheap, and maybe they get through the transaction because by then, they're already picturing themselves in the house
Mm-hmm.
and emotions take over. And, next thing you know, they bought this house with, you know, a litany of issues.
Right.
That may have been on, it was on the home inspection report, but they're probably not reading it.
Mm-mm.
I had a good realtor in here earlier. He said he gets 30 minutes of their time
Mm-hmm.
and they go through the report together
Nice.
on the computer. So they're each looking at it
Yeah.
and 30 minutes reviewing it, and he gets to the point. And what is the big stuff? At least then you can say, well, you read the report. You
Yeah.
knew that this
Right.
didn't work or
Right.
this was coming up due.
Yes.
So I thought that was a good
It is.
deal, because I doubt most of them do that.
Yeah. I think the professionals do, that I talk to a lot. I think they point out the big ticket items for sure, but then there'll be other borrowers that I talk to, and I'm like, well, did your realtor talk to you about the inspection? Did you guys go over it? And they're like, no, the inspector sent it to me. That's all I know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Do you deal with many inspections? Like, do they ever come across your desk?
no, I don't deal with the home inspections, the general home inspection, but sometimes clients want our help to shop for homeowners insurance. So they'll send us the 4-point and the wind mitigation.
Okay.
But I don't technically ever really
Right.
need the general home inspection.
Yeah, insurance would be
Mm-hmm.
the only time I would think so too. They always are like, well, who should I send this to? Some of them don't want to send it to anybody, and then some
Yeah.
of them want to send it to everybody. So you really, the home inspection is for you as the consumer to
Right.
know what you're buying. The appraisals, that's for the loan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4-point and the limit, that's for your insurance. See, everything
Correct.
kind of goes in a different column.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be spending money, because an appraisal, what's the average appraisal now?
I mean, now an appraisal is probably close to $600.
Yeah. They've gone up.
They have.
Yeah, so you've got that. You've got your
Mm-hmm.
inspection cost, which I'd say averages, 400 to, depending on how big, old, and all the inspections you need, maybe $1,000. Then you've got your appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't have to put money down or limited money, it's going to cost you a lot, or
Yeah, I would
just
say
out
about
and yeah,
$2,500 at
just to
least.
buy the place.
Hmm.
So you got to be prepared for those expenses coming up when you're home shopping. You got to remember it's not a cheap thing to buy.
No.
It's not like you're going to the store and, oh, it's $159 and that's it. And you pay your tax and you're done. There could be a septic tank.
Hmm.
There could be cast iron pipes. They could need a WDO if it's a
Hmm.
VA loan. So all these things could come up, which could elevate the price
Hmm.
of the transaction for the consumer.
Yeah.
So that's been our episode this week. We would like to thank our guest again, Tara Allen. It's been great. You're a very seasoned professional, mortgage professional. I've used you at least 2 times. Like I said, super smooth process, very communicative. It was really one of the easiest transactions, and I've done a lot of these that I've ever had. So thank you so much for taking care of me. And thank you for being on our podcast. How can people get in touch with you if they need a mortgage professional?
Absolutely. My direct line is 386-804-5719, or you can go to my website at www.fairwayloansbytaraallen.com.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to our next episode of Have a Sip Podcast.